Welcome back to our channel. Today I'm going to recap the movie titled Limitless, which is a 2011 American science fiction thriller film. So let's get into the movie. At the beginning of the movie, we see a man named Edward standing at the edge of a building, trying to commit suicide due to a few people at his threshold. From there, he starts a story from a day of his life, telling us that he wants to be a writer, but he is unable to write the book due to a lack of motivation. At the same time, he is not so focused on his work. Due to this, his girlfriend, Linda, breaks up with him. He is now worried about his life. During this, one of his old friends named Vern meets him, who is now a drug dealer. He tells his friend the whole situation about his life. His friend gives him a drug and tells him that after taking it, his mind will work perfectly for writing the book. Edward takes the drug, and after taking the drug, he comes home and sees his landlord's wife, who is yelling at him for not paying the rent of the house. But he is unable to understand anything. He notices a book in her bag. Due to the drug, his mind is now hyperactive, and all of the knowledge and things that he has learned start to gather. He recommends a book to his landlady, saying that the book will help her a lot in her field. The landlady is now impressed by him. As an after effect of the drug, his mind and his physical activities become hyperactive. He tidies up his room, which was a mess. Following that, he begins writing the book, which he has been trying for many days now. He thinks all about his life and writes almost 90 pages of his book in one day. He is able to do this because of the drug. The next morning, when he wakes up, he comes to know that the effect of the drug was gone, but he says that there was one thing left behind, looking at his book. He takes his book to the publisher and comes back home. After coming home, the publisher calls him immediately because he has written so well that she read 40 pages of his book. Now the effect of the drug has finished. He goes back to Vern and asks him for the drug, but Vern tells him that he will have to complete a few tasks for him at first. He completes the tasks for his friend, and when he comes back to his apartment, he sees that Vern has been murdered by someone. He finds the drugs from there, and after that, he informs the police about his friend's murder. The police ask him to stay in touch with them. He starts taking the drug dose to keep his mind working hyperactively. He writes his book. Along with it, he is also exercising and learning some other skills. He invests the money that he took from his friend's house in a shared business. But at the same time, he wants to become a great man. He borrows money from a man named Gennady, telling him that his money is going to be doubled, and invests that money in trade. Everyone tells him not to buy that, but he says that he is aware of what he is doing, and he tells us that he has made 2 million just in 2 days. After that, he meets his ex-girlfriend, Linda. Linda is now very happy to see him successful. Linda wants to patch up with him, and he is very happy to hear that. In the next scene, Linda and Eddie spend time together, but when he hugs her, Edward notices that a man is following them. At night, Eddie tries to find that man, but he sees that he is in a TV lounge, but he doesn't know how he came there. The next day, Eddie has a meeting with a business tycoon, Carl Van Loon. Carl Van Loon shows him all the files of his company, and Eddie suggests some very good ideas, and Carl Van Loon gets very impressed by Eddie's genius. He comes out of Carl Van Loon's car. He feels dizzy and finds himself in different places, unaware of how he got there. He finds himself in a place where many people surround and attack him. A lot of fighting scenes start roaming in his mind, and he fights with all of the people and gains upper hand over all of them. The next morning, he is in his bedroom and he realizes that he has to attend a meeting with Carl Van Loon. But this time, he doesn't want to take the drugs. He gives a try to the files without drugs, but he's unable to understand what is written on the files, and he leaves his apartment for the meeting. He feels dizzy, so he comes home. When arriving home, he takes a call from his friend's sister and his ex-wife, Melissa. He has a diary of Vern, in which there are a lot of numbers of his customers. He calls his friends customers. After the calls, he gets to know that most of the customers have died, and some of them are in comas. A quick reminder before we continue our review of this movie: if you enjoyed the video so far, please consider subscribing as we frequently upload such informative and entertaining videos. Let's continue. He goes to meet his friend's sister, and she tells him that she was also addicted to the same drug. She tells him that this drug is very soothing in the beginning, but once you get addicted to it, it is very dangerous. She also adds that if he wants to save his life, he will have to get rid of it. He leaves from there, and on his way, he meets Gennady. He starts fighting Edward for money. During the fight, the packet of drugs falls from Edward's pocket. Gennady asks him about the pill, and Eddie tells him that it's aspirin, but he takes one pill of the drug and feels very good. Now he says that he will not take money from Edward, and instead of money, he wants to take these pills. He goes to meet Linda at her office. He tells Linda the whole story about the pills, and he says that he cannot quit using these pills at once, telling her that if she wants to help him, she will have to go and find these pills in her house. As she gets the pills and comes out, the same man starts chasing her. She hides behind a rock to save her life and calls Edward. Edward asks her to take one pill of the drug. After taking the drug, her mind starts working hyperactively, and she escapes from there. She tells Edward everything, and he tells her that she will not take this drug again, and that he will quit using the pills soon. Gennady with his men comes in front of his house and demands more pills. He gives them the pills. He himself takes one pill and goes to attend the meeting with Carl Van Loon. This time, the meeting goes successful. He tells Carl Van Loon that last time he was not feeling well. That's why he was unable to do anything. Edward hires 2 bodyguards and gives them directions. Van Loon arranges a meeting in which he introduces Edward to other businessmen. He is now going to work with all these businessmen. When Edward comes home, he notices that someone has broken into his house. He changes his house and arranges a good security system. The police believe Edward is not responsible for his friend's death. Edward hires a lawyer for him, and he is cleared of all charges. The next day, they have to do the final meeting. The senior business tycoon named Hank gets into a coma, and instead of him, Hank's wife comes into the meeting, telling them that they cannot make the final deal until her husband recovers completely. Hank's wife is going back to her home when Edward notices that she is with the same man who always keeps following him. Actually, this man was Hank's driver, who came there to take Hank's wife. Now, Carl Van Loon and Edward get worried about the situation because they cannot make the final deal until Hank does not come out of the coma. Edward goes to the washroom for taking the pills, but he sees that there is not even a single pill in his pocket and realizes that someone has stolen the pills. He thinks that it's been done by his lawyer. After coming home, he turns on the television, and from a news channel, he comes to know that his lawyer has deceived him. At the same time, Gennady breaks into his house with his men. The scene shifts to the beginning, where we see him standing on the edge of the building and decides to commit suicide because he has no pills to give to Gennady. He remembers that he has put one pill in a box, and he starts looking for that box. Before he could find it, Gennady with his men comes inside the house by breaking the door. That one pill falls out of his hands, and that man picks it up. Gennady tells Eddie that his pill is more effective with no side effects if injected. Gennady gets distracted, so Eddie drinks his blood while on the floor and manages to kill him, as Gennady's blood had the drug in it. He kills them all and runs from there. Eddie goes and meets Hank's driver. The driver tells him that his boss used to take the same pill as him, and now there were no pills left for him, so he died. The driver tells him that they knew Eddie was using the same pills, and that's why he used to keep an eye on him. Eddie tells him that the lawyer stole the pills from him too, and why he didn't give the pills to him. They go to the lawyer's house and Eddie finds the pills. After 1 year, Edward's book is now published. This book got him very famous, and he was also a participant in the Senate elections. One day, Carl Van Loon, who is now his business partner, comes and says, "I know how you were able to do all these things very easily." He tells him that he has bought the company that makes the pills and banned the lab. Carl Van Loon offers him a deal in return for his pills. Carl Van Loon asks him to help him after he becomes the president, but Eddie declines his offer. They all know that Eddie is now going to be the president of the United States of America, but now he wants to do good things in his life, and that's why he refuses his offer. Eddie tells him that he quit the use of the pill and he has modified them a lot, saying that he has managed to remove all of its side effects. He tells Carl Van Loon that he just needs one pill to keep him hyperactive for 1 year, and also warns him that he is always 50 steps ahead of everyone, telling him that he cannot compete with him. Eddie shows him an example of his abilities by predicting an accident, and we get to know that he can now see the future. Edward touches Carl Van Loon's heart and asks him to take care of himself because he is going to face many heart problems in the future. Carl Van Loon leaves from there because he realizes that he cannot compete with Edward now. After that, Edward is now in a restaurant with his girlfriend Linda. Edward calls the waiter and orders the food in Chinese language. Linda is looking into his eyes, wondering whether he is using the drugs or not. And the movie ends there. If you already watched this movie, please share your reviews with us in the comments below. And before you go, make sure to like this video and share it with your friends who are into drama, comedy, and crime fiction movies. Thank you for watching.